Hey YouTube. Really nice day today. It's the Monday after Easter. So I'm going to take the time to seal the ends of these logs. So what I got there is paint, a roller, and a broom. So I can broom the ends of the dirt off the end. I shut the camera off because one of my neighbors stopped by. But I'll just show you how I slop this stuff on there. This is not, I mean, if you want to paint like Rembrandt, you can. You can use a brush. It doesn't really matter how you do it, just so you get it on. I use the broom to brush most of the dirt off of it. I don't even care if there's a little bit of dirt on it. It doesn't have to be perfect because you figure you're cutting a cant out of there, so there's a lot of paint that's actually wasted. And the good thing about this is that you're not worrying about getting it anywhere. I don't really care if I slop up the log, that ain't gonna hurt nothing. And even though sometimes I can't tell what kind of tree I got with the bark, as soon as I cut it, I'll know what it is. So that's the good part. So I'm going to get as many of these sealed as I can, since the weather seems like it's going to be nice today. It doesn't really matter if you get all the dirt off the bottom. The only problem with it is if you let too much dirt on it, you know, you're liable to dull your saw blade a little bit. And also, you pull the dirt, the paint comes right back off. It don't stay on if there's a lot of dirt on it. So you need to watch that. Other than that, it just helps it to not crack. This is not foolproof. In other words, you could still get some cracks when you cut the wood. But what we were doing last year, or the year, yeah, last year when Carmine was here, sometimes we would cut a log and then just paint the boards. But that gets to be a little bit of a nuisance because you end up getting paint on the board itself, which really is not something you want to do. Because if you get paint on the board, especially latex, you can't stain that board anymore. If you get even a couple drops, and you woodworkers know what I'm talking about, a couple of drops of latex paint on wood absorbs in so quick and so hard that it's very hard to get a good stain, you know what I mean, on top of that latex. So it's better to do it now, slop it on, don't worry about it. This way here you don't have to worry about anybody really stealing logs because you kind of know what you got here. But the other thing is, I want to make a brand, not that you heat, but that you hammer, so that when I get logs, I can brand them right away with a hammer, put my initials on them, or JW something, to help to recognize that they're ours. Because I have logs laying all over the place, not just on my property, but I have them on other people's property that I purchased, and I need to make sure that when I see logs being moved, that they're not the ones that have my name on them or my initials or whatever. You can see this one here's got a hole up through the middle, but a couple of them do. The one thing nice about having the Woodmizer is that you can take the time to cut around stuff like that. You don't have to worry about it so much. Also, if you buy Anchor Seal, I think it's called, Anchor Seal is a little bit pricey. To me, it doesn't do as, it does the job, but it's not a whole lot better than this paint is. This paint, I paid $3 for a gallon because it's a mix match paint. In other words, somebody had it mixed and it didn't suit the customer, so they didn't want it. So you can go to any paint store, and if the guy's pretty decent, he'll give you the paint for a pretty good price. Even Lowe's sells it, you know, a lot cheaper than if you were to buy it. So I think I paid $3 a gallon, if I'm not mistaken. Even if you pay $5 a gallon, you can't beat it. It's a lot cheaper than what Anchor Seal is. And like I say, this isn't perfect, but it's not bad. And then some of the problems that you come up with here is, you know, I'm painting these now, but when I go to cut them, I might want to shorten the log, so I have to repaint it anyway. But at least this way here, the bulk of them are done. Now these were cut by professional loggers, and those guys should have cut them at least 3 inches longer for me, which is what I told them I wanted. But I don't know. I haven't measured them really close enough to know that. And then some people don't care. You tell them what you want. Yeah, they promise you the world, you get nothing. So anyway, so what I'm doing today, and also I was supposed to get one of my trucks inspected today. They canceled till Thursday. I'm glad they did, because when I went to check the truck out from this freaking bumpy road I live on, my headlights weren't staying on. Sometimes they'd come on, sometimes they wouldn't come on, and it's kind of a nuisance. So this morning then I went and fixed my headlights on one of the trucks, my 89 truck, the white one. Now some of these logs I can't get at that are on the bottom, but truthfully, the ones that are on the bottom are going to dry less quick, because they're not going to get that much sun. Of course, you know, putting this stuff on, not that this is an insecticide, I'm not saying that, but it'll help keep or deter some bugs. Of course, it's early in the season yet. There aren't too many bugs. Maybe you might see a fly or two flying around, but it's not the season yet where they're really nasty. You can see how quick it goes. It doesn't take long to do it. And I think you're better off doing it when they're logs than when they're boards. Just seems like an easier and quicker way of doing it. Got to do the other side yet then too. Whew. Guys, I get a lot of comments on my channel and a lot of emails. Sometimes you get some guys who are complaining because I'm going slow or it takes me a while to do something. You don't realize that making the video, like right now I stopped to talk. I mean, I just painted all them in less than 10 minutes, and I could do a lot more work if I wasn't making videos, but I like making videos because of the teaching aspect of it. But it doesn't really matter if people want a fast, lots of cutting, big logs or whatever. There's plenty of channels you can go on. I'm just trying to show people what I do and what works for me. I don't like doing anything twice if I can help it. Well, that's not to say it doesn't happen sometimes. Sometimes it does happen. But I don't like doing things twice. So I try to do everything as good as I can the first time around, so later on I don't have to worry about it. The name of the game here is to cut quality wood. If you're cutting wood and you're leaving it sit out in the rain and the snow and all that, you know, depending upon how you've dried it and all, you can leave it sit out and surface dry. That's not the end of the world. But a lot of wood, you know, out in the sun, the wrong kind of temperatures and stuff, it really gets bad quick. Does a lot of bending and moving and all, and I'm trying to eliminate that because I don't have, you know, a big percentage of wood that's junk, and even if I did, I can always turn it into firewood. But again, you know, you're trying not to waste stuff. So anyway, all right, well, you saw what I was doing there with the paint, so I'm going to finish up with that big one there, and then I'm going to move on the opposite side. I'll talk to you later. I don't know if you can read that. It's 100 and, let's see, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 115 and around 20% relative humidity. Can't ask for better than that. I have the vents open to blow out whatever's in there and circulate that warm air. It's around 68 degrees out today. This stuff in here should be really nice stuff once I get to plane it. So anyway, looks like I missed one. Somewhere right in there somewhere. Okay, so I got these done. Pretty much done. Missed one or two, but that's not bad. I used 2 gallons of paint. The one there is still full. 2 gallons to do both these ends of the logs. And don't forget, I'm just slopping it on there. I'm not playing games with it. Okay. So guys, that should be it for today. Really nice day in Pennsylvania. Probably around, I don't know, 3:30 or so today. 3:30 already. All right, have a good one, guys. Hey guys, let's see what you're seeing here. Oh. So I want to tell you a quick story. This is a public service announcement. Last week, I forget what day it was, but last week one of my kids came to visit me. So I always tell them that on the way up to call me so I know that they're okay, because it's usually a 300 or 200 mile trip and I don't want to be worrying about them. So anyway, my daughter called me, said, yeah, I'm on my way up, everything is good. And she said, just so you know, one of the boys that are in the Navy, there's 2 grandsons, is going to call you today. I said, okay. So I hung up the phone. I swear to you, not even 30 seconds later, the phone rings. Okay, and my wife always puts the phone on speakerphone so that I can stay where I'm sitting and just holler to whoever the heck it is. So anyway, she had the phone on speakerphone, and this, you know, she picked up the phone and I heard the guy say, Grandma, can I talk to Grandpa? So, okay, I went over to the phone, and one of the boys is 3,000 miles from us, the one that called me. So I'm thinking, I don't recognize the voice, but, you know, I mean, my daughter said he was going to call. He said, he even said the name. So when Grandma said, which grandson, he said the name. Okay, so I answered the phone. So anyway, he says to me, Grandpa, just so you know, this morning I was in a car accident, and I was at the hospital. I had stitches in my head, and I ran into the back of a car, and the lady, or the person I ran into had a little kid in the car, and the little kid is hurt really bad. So I'm listening to this story, and I'm thinking to myself, this does not sound like my grandson to me. Just, you know how it is, sometimes the words, different things, didn't sound like him, but I wasn't sure. So, okay, I'm listening. And he says to me, so the police arrested me. Alright, so I'm listening to this. And so I says to him, why didn't you call your mother? And he says to me, I don't want Mom to know. Okay, well right there is a freaking no-no in my family, because I tell the parents whatever the kids do, I don't care what they do, because it's not my problem. But anyway, he says to me, so would you talk to the district attorney for me and help me out a little bit? I said, okay. So he says to me, don't hang up. Well, in the back of my mind, when he said to me, don't hang up, I'm thinking, who the heck do you think you're talking to? I never would do that, and they know it. If I say I'm going to do something, I do it. I don't play games with people. So that was the first thing. So anyway, I said, okay, I won't hang up. So anyway, I get on the phone with this woman. She don't identify herself, and I'm not hearing no background noise. You know, he claimed he was at the at the police barracks, and I'm expecting to hear something. Nothing. I'm not hearing any background noise. So anyway, this woman says to me on the phone, did Jonathan, and that's the grandson's name, tell you why I needed to talk to you? And I said, no. And she said, well, in order for him to go in front of the judge today, right now, today, he needs to pay a $3,000 refundable thing. Okay, now this kid, you got to remember, has been in the Navy now for about 2 or 3 months. So I says to her, okay, well, I said, let me just explain this to you. The way we raise our kids is if they do something wrong, and here's what happened. He said to me, I reached down to grab my cell phone, and I ran into the back of a car. Okay, well, whose fault is that? It ain't my fault. It ain't even the car's fault. It's his fault. So anyway, I says to this woman, well, listen, I'm not paying $3,000 for him to go see a judge. And before I got done, she said, well, I might be able to talk to the judge and get that reduced a little bit. And I'm thinking to myself, why would some judge 3,000 miles away from me give a crap about whether I get a reduction in a payment of some sort? So I says to her, and I was still thinking this is all on the level, but a little sketchy. So anyway, the woman says to me, she said that, and then I said, look, we raise our kids so that if they do something wrong, they pay for it. I ain't paying for that. I wouldn't pay for him to get out of jail for no reason. He shouldn't be there to begin with. And I asked her, was this bail money? And she said, no. Well, if it's bail money, if it's not bail money, then I don't understand the system, because I've never been in jail, but I don't, you know, I figured if it's bail money, I know that that's sort of refundable. But at the same time, I've got my wallet there. All my cards are in my wallet, and I'm looking. I says to her, nah, I said, I can't pay that, and I'm not going to pay that. And she says to me, well, so you're saying you won't pay anything for him to get out of jail? I said, no, I'm not going to pay 10 cents because it's not my fault, and she hung up on me. So then I was afraid to call my daughter and tell her that he was in an accident because I thought he was in an accident. But anyhow, it ended up where when my daughter got here and I started telling her this story, here she told me, because she works for a doctor, she was telling me that the freaking woman, some old lady at the doctor's office, was scammed out of 20 grand out of her credit card with this same kind of a scenario. In fact, the day after it happened, my daughter said it was in the newspaper about this scam. Now, I don't know if any of you older guys out there, or your wives, you got to be careful with these people today. And that was a good story. I mean, they had the name right. I don't even know how they did all that. I'm sure, you can get on the computer and figure stuff out. But they had the name right. They had everything. But I was not willing to pay for that. But I'll tell you what I am willing to pay. I will pay $1,000 if the person who did call me will call me again, come here in my garage and let me lock the door. I will give you $1,000 for that to happen. That's all I got to say about it. But what I will say is be very, very careful. These people are ruthless. They have no heart whatsoever. I mean, if I wouldn't have answered the phone, my wife probably would not have paid that kind of money for anything over the phone. But I got to tell you, it was a good story. It had me going. I was all upset to the point where when the boy finally did call and we FaceTimed so that I could see him, I actually cried because I was so worked up over this. But I still didn't know until after I talked to my daughter that it was a scam. I thought it was a legitimate thing. So seeing that he wasn't hurt and all that really had me upset. But you people that made the call, and I really don't think it's anybody on my YouTube thing, but I'm just going to say this, that I would pay $1,000 to get my hands on that person. I really would. So just wanted to tell you this little tip. Be very careful when you're answering the phone. We get about 10 phone calls a day from these morons wanting to sell us everything from car insurance, free this, free that, free credit cards, free all kinds of free crap. You just got to hang up, And the way it is I'm getting to the point where I'm going to have to give my kids a password so that they can tell me the password before I believe who I'm talking to. Because for a moment there, I really thought I was talking to my grandson. But in retrospect, there was words that he used that my grandson wouldn't have used. To tell me not to tell his mom something is a losing proposition. That ain't going to happen. So, anyway, I just thought I'd share that with you. Let you know what people are really like. So have a good one, guys.